Hey everyone, first off, Untamed Strength and Beast Metals hosting a United States Strongman sanctioned competition January 13th and 14th at Cal Expo. It was a blast this year. It's going to be even better next year, 2018. I'll include information to that competition down in the description area. Hope to see you guys there. So, this Throwback Thursday video is going to be about how I got into Strongman. And the videos you'll be seeing that are playing right now throughout this video are all from before I opened Untamed Strength. This video you're watching right now is the last Strongman competition that I did, California's Strongest Man, in March 2016. Anyways, going way back, I started lifting weights in 8th grade in preparation for high school football. And I lifted all throughout high school. My workouts consisted of squats, front squats, cleans, bench press, pull-ups, push-ups, and lots of sprints. And that's really pretty much it. I would do that 4 days per week, and I would train on my own too. After high school, I stopped lifting because I kind of lost interest, and I actually started long distance running. I would run my ass off 5 to 6 days per week. I'd wake up at 3 a.m., I'd run all over town in the dark, and then I'd work 10+ hour days in the 100-degree heat. And I'd save my long runs for the weekends. I was like 180 pounds, skinny, weak, but I could run like a gazelle. And anyways, I eventually trashed my knee and I had to stop running so much. And what's funny about that is that's the only span of time in my life since being a teenager when I didn't squat. And oddly enough, I hurt my knee really bad and I couldn't seem to fix it. Anyways, time went on, fast forward, I decided to join the Marine Corps. And after about a year of initial training, I met a guy in the Marines named Josh Clark, and he introduced me to powerlifting. Now, I had always lifted weights, but Josh introduced me to the idea of, I guess, training movements rather than training muscles. Let's work on your bench press and your squat. Let's not worry about, you know, leg day, back and bicep day. And he taught me about programming. This is very basic stuff that we all know now, but it was, you know, how much are you lifting today? Let's figure out a plan to get you lifting more in 6 months. So just like that, I fell in love with lifting all over again. And that's all I wanted to do. That's all I wanted to do in my free time while I was in the Marine Corps. I put so much intensity into my workouts because that's all I cared about while I was in the Marine Corps. I would sit at the chow hall and I'd eat until I could not eat anymore. And I got really, really strong really fast. I can honestly say that I was probably making progress just as fast as if I was taking steroids. No joke. And anyways, that same guy that got me into lifting decided one day to mix up some concrete in a 5-gallon bucket.
Easy. Before my workout, I took a protein shake and some creatine supplements. I'm feeling strong today.
Behind one of the buildings on base because he wanted to make his own Atlas stone. I had never seen an Atlas stone in real life, only on World's Strongest Man reruns that seemed to always play late at night when I was growing up. So to see this Atlas stone in real life was really, really exciting. And anyways, this is it. You're watching it right now. It was a 240-pound stone, probably the worst made stone I've ever encountered. I tried this thing at least 10 separate times. I couldn't lift it. Eventually, I did. I lifted it to a picnic table. And that is how I fell in love with Strongman. While I was at Camp David, my chain of command would often punish us, I've said this in other videos, by closing the gym. Gym's closed. You can go run around base if you want a PT. Just stay inside and study your MCIs or clean. So my roommate and I found a tractor tire, an old tractor tire that was behind a building on base, and looking back on it, I would estimate it was probably about 600 pounds. And there was also a segment of a telephone pole. And so when the gym was closed, we would do an entire workout with this tire and telephone pole. We'd put the telephone pole on our backs and we'd do squats or we'd do walking lunges. Not very many because it was so damn heavy, but we would do crazy stuff. Like, let's do 100 tire flips today. I don't care how long it takes us. Let's just keep going until we get 100 flips. And in a way, I'm not trying to sound dramatic, but it was kind of like being in prison. We were on base. We didn't have access to the outside world really. I didn't even have a phone then. We didn't have internet. There was a computer lab, but it was very limited to what you could do on it. We couldn't leave base, so there's nothing to do but eat and lift weights. And so that's all we did when we were stuck on base. And anyways, so that's also why I don't have any videos or photos while I was at Camp David. Any videos or training photos while I was at Camp David, because we're not allowed to have cameras on base. So anyways, eventually my roommate and I found out that there were amateur strongman competitions. And until then, I thought that strongman was reserved for World's Strongest Man only, the stuff you see on TV. At the time, I was in Maryland, and there was an upcoming competition in Delaware. So we both really wanted to do it, but we would have to get approval from our chain of command because it was out of liberty bounds for the weekend. You can only travel a certain amount of miles away from base. And I was worried that my chain of command would not approve it. So I figured we just go and hope we don't get caught. So we did. We both showed up to the comp not knowing what the events were. I was just really eager to do it. And I had an absolute blast, even though I had no real idea of what I was doing in terms of technique. But it was really cool to see so many people excited about what I was excited about. And soon after this, I found another competition in Pennsylvania, and I signed up for that. Again, didn't know the events, didn't know what a Husafol, Husafel, whatever it was called, an H-stone. I had no idea what it was. I didn't know what an axle bar was. I literally thought that I was going to show up to the competition and lift some sort of car part. And one thing, I remember going to that competition, so curious to see how exactly one deadlifts a car. Anyways, I found out real quick. I actually didn't even know what lifting straps were, so that's why when you watch this video, I'm not wearing straps. When I was doing these competitions, like I said earlier, didn't own a phone, a smartphone, I didn't have a computer. So most of these videos that you're watching were recorded on a small camera that's used for just pictures, right? Weird, huh? And anyways, I had to use the computer on base, which was extremely limited. You couldn't watch videos of it. So that's how I found these competitions. But I didn't go on YouTube or Instagram or Facebook to see what the events looked like or how to do it. It was all very new to me. I kind of just jumped in and learned how to swim. So technology was a limitation. I guess you could say that it was a time when the Marines used nudie magazines and their imagination, if you know what I mean. So after this comp, I found a gym in Maryland, Coliseum Gym, that had strongman equipment. So my good buddy Paul and I would drive out there on Saturdays to train strongman. And again, it just felt really underground. And to actually meet other people who share the same passion was really addictive. So I had a lot of fun doing it. As soon as I got out of the Marine Corps, I knew that I was going to open my own gym, but I didn't do it right away. I've talked about this in several of my past videos. It was about 5 months later that I opened up the doors to Untamed Strength. And in the meantime, between getting out of the Marine Corps and opening my own gym, I lifted at a local commercial gym. And like I said earlier, I used to lift with a lot of intensity all of the time, every single day. Lots of grunts and yells, and this obviously didn't jive well with commercial gyms. And I was told many times that I was being too loud, I was offending other gym members. There were numerous complaints, apparently. And one time while deadlifting 185 pounds, I'm not kidding, 185 pounds, warming up, I was told I had to stop deadlifting because I was, quote, rattling the entire building. So this ended up being the last straw. I went home, purchased some equipment, and I started training in my garage. I did a lot of random stuff while training, but I had a lot of fun learning it along the way. Anyway, the video kind of ends there because this was all about my journey into strongman and lifting before Untamed Strength. But my small adventure of competing in my first competition without my chain of command's approval, to getting kicked out of a commercial gym, to training in my garage, to moving into my own warehouse has been a lot of fun. And hopefully it motivates you to not be such a boring stick in the mud. Have some fun, take some risk in life, sign up for a competition if you haven't already, and start finding things in life that excite you, and do that more often. But most importantly, in my personal opinion, tread on time.